Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Edge podcast. This is Real Talk Tuesday. Tonight, we have on Mayor Frank McClary, and we have a special guest on tonight. That'll be County Councilman from Williamsburg County, right across the county line there. Councilman Torrance Wilson from District 2. Um, he'll definitely be on here tonight. To add to the conversation, we got a very important conversation tonight. Very, very, very important conversation. Way more important than that foolishness that took place last night. So, if you want to know what it's really about, hang around tonight and please join this conversation. Um, this conversation is very important, and I got some really good information to put out there tonight. But I want to start by saying congratulations to these young ladies that have won the state championship representing Andrews again on that Drake stuff, that back to back, that kind of thing. Um, these young ladies again last year. These are some of the same young ladies that went down to Louisiana to play in the World Series, and here they are again representing the big A. Got that big A across the chest. And there they go again, done won in the state championship once again. Again, a lot to talk about tonight. Also, got some announcements here to make. Andrews Elementary, Tylen's Health Georgetown Family YMC After School Program. Andrews Elementary, register now. Okay, register now. Begins in August. And these are the type of programs that are definitely important. Um, you know what I mean? These are the type of programs that's going to help raise that overall score of the school. But here's the thing about these programs: these kids cannot sign themselves up, because I bet you if they could, they would. So it's going to require parents uh, participating. Okay. And I think this is the second or third time they're bringing this program back. So we need to get some people involved in these programs. Okay. It's one of them things. If you don't use it, you will lose it. And we have a fire and flood relief for Miss Peggy Cumby. Okay. And this is going to take place. Man, I wish I could read this writing here. I can read that menu though. I could definitely read that. This Saturday, July 13th at 12 noon. Okay. Let's help Miss Peggy Cumby recover from a fire. And so listen, the cook's gonna be out there, so the food's gonna be out there. Come on out, Andrews. Let's do what we do. Let's show our love. You know what I mean? Let's do what we do. A community united stands strong together. All right. So that's one thing I do know about my community is that in a time of crisis, you know what I mean, we might not always be, sometimes again, like the foolishness I was involved in last night, but beyond all of that, man, this is one of the places on earth that I know people rally around and step up and help out. Also, man, I got this right here. This is some good information. Williamsburg County EMS, and we're always talking about EMS, which is going to lead to another conversation here. Williamsburg County EMS is currently hiring full-time paramedic shift supervisors for $61,915. Paramedic crew chiefs, $58,377. Advanced EMT, $50,412.26. And I guess basic EMT worker for entry level, 45,000. And I mean 45,000 for any kind of entry level job is it's to me, I don't know we have to sign, and it says we have a sign-on bonus for full-time and financial assistance for educational advancement. So if you're looking for a career change, this is probably a great opportunity. I'll put this up again a little later as we move along. Also over in Williamsburg County, and that's for my people right there on that county line road, living right there in Andrews. Uh, look at this job fair, Williamsburg County. All right, featured positions. They got the sheriff's office, detention office, uh, Cummins Mag. Okay, so that's the Cummins engine, the manufacturing, and the guest that I have on tonight is going to be able to get into detail about that, ASE certified and all that stuff like that. But transit system, emergency EMS jobs, forestry commission, McCloud Health. I mean, there's jobs in Williamsburg County. You can go to Williamsburg County Recreation and Recovery Center. As the address for that is 2084 Thurgood Marshall Highway, Kingstree, South Carolina 29556. This begins July 30, begins July 31st. Join us 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Okay. It doesn't have a phone number here, but the flyer will be posted on my page here. And again, good information, the type of information we need, right? And so let's get this off the screen there. And let me bring up the mayor of Andrews, South Carolina, Mayor Frank McClary. How are you this evening, sir?
Hey, not too bad yourself.
I'm doing pretty good, man. Considering all the work, But I am so thankful for it this time of year. You know what I'm saying? It's fortunately we got a lot of people moving down that don't like bugs, that really don't like bugs.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're becoming a problem. I'm starting to see some a different kind of bugs this season. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's these little sink bugs or whatever the case is, but they are very busy. So we'll
Out
probably
of the
call
out of
them.
the drains.
Yeah, those fruit flies or some
Yeah,
crazy
well, no, it's not fruit fly, it's drain gnats, and
drain nets.
yeah, I'll stop through and take care of that because what it is you don't use your sinks a lot.
Yeah,
You
that's
don't,
true.
and so what's happening is they come out of the when you do use the sink and then that stuff that goes down the drain and then that collects around in that pipe, that's what they come out of. And if you don't every day washing got different soaps and different things going down the drain every day,
Yeah,
it they'll develop. But yeah, it's
busy
pretty,
bodies, man.
yeah, pretty easy solution. But we'll get to that. We'll get that done. Listen, I seen this right here. I was watching the game on Miss Skipper's page. State champ, when they took the championship.
Hey, these young ladies are something special. This is their second year back to back state champions, and they'll be headed off to I think it's Prince William, Prince William County, Virginia, on the 19th of July to compete in the World Series, and I'm
Again.
sure they're going to do real well. Yep,
Yeah, that is I mean officially now we can go ahead and take. I mean Andrews is title town.
Title Town is back to back state champs, and uh, it's a short window, but we're gonna try to put something together to recognize them probably next week, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the days. I got to take a look at see when we're available. Nothing big right now, but we want to show our appreciation for all their hard work and consistency, and they will be again taking off this next week, the 19th, to go out and compete and represent Andrews and the state of South Carolina at the World Series. Big deal.
Yeah.
So congratulations to the team, the coaches, and all involved. And Coach, Miss Skipper's there. She's the team mom, I believe, the official team mom. So she makes sure that these young ladies are well taken care of and people know how they are out there performing. So shout out to the Dixie youth team.
No doubt. So, ladies, I needed I need that second state championship picture. I needed the so because people be thinking this is a fake wall. It's not a fake wall.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's those are champions.
those are champions. So I'm starting the collection right here, baby.
Yeah,
matter
that's
of
going to be
fact,
worth. That's going
matter
to
of
be worth
fact,
something in a little while.
I'm gonna get them young ladies to sign this one and the next one. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah, I shared a couple of pictures from last year. If I'm not sure whether you received them or not, but some pictures from last year from the celebration. Actually, the team photos from last year.
Yep, I should have them somewhere. I got them, but I don't have this. Actually, I got them here right on this terabyte here. And at a point, I'll definitely pull those out. Um, let me see. Where'd you send
And
them?
I think,
Oh no no
yeah,
no no no.
on your inbox.
Okay. Well, they hadn't come through yet.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also,
And I would say this too. I'd say reach out to the coaches and team if you can support them, because it's not cheap traveling with the team all the way
absolutely.
up northeast. So if anyone wants to contribute donation to their travel, because they'll end up staying. Hopefully they'll be there for a while until the championship, and so they're going to need some assistance um, to make sure the young ladies are taken care of.
Yeah, and real fast, fundraiser right here for Miss Peggy this Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, and everybody know Peggy, and she's probably has the biggest heart in the town in terms of giving and especially for our kids, and how she get out there to um, collect toys and present toys to them, put on events for them, and everybody knows she has a big heart. Well, this fire, obviously caused a lot of damage um, to her furniture, household goods, and those kind of things, and she's actually been out of her place for some time now, waiting on the repairs and some other things to take place. And so I want to give a shout out to Miss Lana for stepping up and putting something together here so we can help raise some funds to help her through this time of crisis. And so if you live in Andrews, you have been touched in a positive way by Miss Peggy Cumby. So let's not hold back in supporting her to get through this tough time. So the event will be Saturday, as you mentioned,
Hmm.
um, and don't have all the details yet. I'll be working with talking to her soon, but we can get out there and support this effort to make sure we take care of one of our own.
Absolutely. And let me go ahead and bring our guest up tonight. We got a guest tonight that's going to be joining us for the conversation
Oh man,
tonight.
Councilman Wilson, how you doing, sir?
Councilman Councilman
Hey,
Torrance
good
Wilson,
evening, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
All
doing
right, all
good,
right.
doing good. And man, salute to you, Councilman. He's out there. He, he's actually a principal also, school principal also, and so he's out, doing some training out there in the good old Tennessee. And so I appreciate your time for what I mean, stepping away from what you're doing to hop on Andrews the podcast.
Oh yeah, not a problem.
Absolutely, man. And I appreciate you sending over this information. You want to talk a little bit about that, about this EMS, the hiring. That's a
Yeah, well,
is it a big issue in Williamsburg County?
it's definitely an issue. Looking for persons to fill those roles, to help with our citizens when they call in and say they need help from our ambulance service. So it's definitely a need, and we can get our citizens if some of those young folks, if they're looking for a career path. I mean, this is one that they could definitely embark upon and make a great living with it.
No doubt, no doubt. Yeah, the EMS. We're gonna get back into that conversation again at some point tonight, because that's a hot button topic over in in our neck of the woods over here, just across that county line. Um, and so we see that you guys in Williamsburg County, again, job fair coming up on July 31st. Um, and it's a lot of positions open, a lot of opportunity for some people
Um,
to take on some jobs that and they paying now, obviously.
oh, definitely, man. From the sheriff's office, detention center, all the way down. I mean, we just have availability of of jobs that like I said, someone who's looking to embark upon a career, they can definitely get one started in Winsburg County, in any of those areas.
No doubt, no doubt, man. All right, so and Mr. Gibson, if you are listening, if you want me to, I'll call you. Just text me, and I want you to join this conversation that we're about to get into. I'm just kind of just going to shift into it. It's something that I actually touched on last night a little bit, about there are situations, and there are results from us not, and I say us, I mean Black people not participating in the last round of the census. Okay. And so what are some of the effects? What are some of the how does this affect us, the everyday person, and why is that
Well, I
important in this conversation? Why
I,
is this
I
important?
know how it's affected Williamsburg County tremendously, because we're missing out on a lot of the things that we're able to get. We weren't able to capture a lot of the socioeconomic persons that we need to service, because a lot of people did not participate in. And I mean, it really drove us into another category, um, because you had those persons who were making a higher salary. They did the census, but those persons on a lower economic status, they did not do the census, and so it gave the false sense that Winsburg County has a higher bracket of income than it really has. And so with that, I mean, it kind of knocks you out of a lot of opportunities for grants, um, things of that nature that you need.
Yeah, it and it goes, and it's pretty deep subject, and very important, obviously with the census, and it qualifies you, as the Councilman Wilson just said. It gives you an opportunity to qualify, especially in these low to moderate income areas, qualify more for grants. And you're gonna, and you just don't. I don't care who you are or what, whether you're the county or a municipality, you are relying on grant funding to help you maintain your respective area. That's the bottom line. You're not going to be
Yep.
rewarded with your budget. And so when we are not active and participating in the census, it impacts you across the board. Um, and on top of that, we start talking about, on the political side, um, 2020 census, and during that time, lines are redrawn again because they're looking for that balance in the population to ensure that it is not, to your word, gerrymandering, where now there's a political manipulation going on for these politicians to have some advantage.
Yep.
Andrews is affected greatly by that, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Bottom
Mm-hmm.
line is, when you have a predominantly white or Black district, then that's all who's going to be representing. You'll see consistency in voting, and in terms of who is selected by race into that particular district,
Right.
and that is not, that is not the way the systems is set up. So in Andrews, where it's split with two, having two representatives, one in District 3, District 5. It's always in District 3. It's going to be an African American, or chances are, I would say, chances are people get out and vote. And then District 5 is always going to be someone Caucasian. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Make these candidates get out here and work and explain to you what they're going to do, what they can do for your district. It should be competitive, but it's not. And so and I'm sure, Councilman can speak to this too. You saw during the 2020 census, you saw a lot of lawyers getting involved in NAACP because you have these state level officials or trying to make it easier for them to get reelected. Well, it also impacts the county reps. For Andrews, in terms of municipality, it's it doesn't affect us in that way at this level. So people need to get involved. Yeah, so you're talking about, you're missing out on funds, you're missing out on equality throughout, for voting, those kinds of things that this, and among other things, we need to have an expert on to talk about the importance of this census and why we need to participate. But those are the immediate impact on us, and we can talk, get into the numbers if you wish to. But that's from town of Andrews. That's our particular situation right now.
And I went ahead and put gerrymandering up there. And let's do this. Gerrymandering, I want people to have an understanding of what it is. And you know what I mean? I would also encourage people to go and research it for yourself. What it is. I've heard the word for a long time. And it's to manipulate boundaries of an electoral constituency so as to favor one party or class. And that was done in Georgetown County in between District 3 and District 5. And just a little bit more context on the word gerrymandering, the origins of it. You know what I mean? Interesting story here. Early 19th century, it came from the name of a governor, Eldridge Gerry of Massachusetts. The salamander. I don't know if you guys know how salamander moves, but from the supposed similarity between a salamander and the shape of a new voting district on a map drawn when he was in an office in 1812, the creation of which was felt to favor his party. And that's what was done between District 3 and District 5 in Andrews, South Carolina, to the point where and I should have had that right here with me, but when you start looking down deep into the numbers of this slide of the votings, where Raymond Newton sits at, it's almost impossible to unseat him because of the way the lines were drawn. You know what I mean? It's like you said, you almost guarantee an African American in District 3, and you guarantee a Caucasian in certain districts in Georgetown County.
Well, the same thing was happening with District 4 in Georgetown County, but again, the NAACP got involved and got lawyers from the state and probably federal level that got involved because District 4 was more balanced. But then when they started to redraw these lines, it heavily shifted that district to predominantly white district. So what happens in this particular case, that now you have a county council that is predominantly of one race and not a fair representation of all of the people of this county. You're not going to, if you look at the population of the demographics in Pawleys Island and that side of the Walker Marnette, that's not going to change. It is an area that, again, you're going to have some level of wealth to live in there. That's just the way it is. And people move, and so you can't change that. So that's always going to almost be someone that is not that is Caucasian. It's going to happen. So then if District 4 would have changed, and now we got District 5. So then you would have potentially a 5-2, because the District 7, which is where Louis Moran is, that's heavy African American, and again, it depends on who lives where, and you're not going to probably change that. And the way Andrews literally is dissected, I mean, strategically dissected to separate people by race.
Yep.
That's not me. That's my assumption.
Nah,
that's
facts. that's just the cold hard facts of the situation.
Whereas the fact of it, it should be closer to 50-50 as much as possible.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. Hey, Wes, text me real fast, Wes, so I can call you. I want to add Mr. Wesley Gibson to this conversation, or you can hit that link and just come on. But if you just prefer calling to this conversation, because he did a lot of work while these lines were being drawn. He was one of the frontline guys that was there. And he can add a little more to what we're getting at. But go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying it, and I know some will wonder why is this, and why are we having this conversation? It is important, and just because it's been this way for so many years doesn't make it right. And so, if you want this thing to be balanced, and this is just one of the things that we have to get right in Georgetown County. Okay. You got to get this right. So if you don't have a balance where the people, regardless of, the people are represented and your voices are heard. And if you don't have that, it's just going to be always one side. It's going to be us versus them, the have and the have nots. Mm-hmm. And as Mr. Torrance just said, when you don't have the people that are in that lower economic bracket participating, then now it skews the perception that Williamsburg County is a extremely wealthy county, and then you're going to miss out. It's going to change your status in terms of what you qualify for. Those are the things, you see. So
speaking of wealth, I was blown away by hey, Mr. West, take your phone number from up there, because that's going to be public. Take that down. I'm calling you now. Delete that. I got you. I'm going to take it off from here. Yeah, speaking of wealth, I was blown away in the difference, like the how the wealth difference between Georgetown and Williamsburg County. When Councilman comes back, I was asking about the what was their operating, you guys' operating budget annually, and what's your annual for this last budget that you guys had come up? What was that?
It's a little over 26 million.
A little over,
and
26
so
million.
that's the total budget that we have to operate. All of the services that we give to the citizens of Williamsburg County.
And land mass wise, Williamsburg County is the largest county in the state.
No, it's the third largest.
Third largest. Okay.
930 some odd square miles.
Mm.
Wow. And so, when you start talking about services and maintaining the level of services, there has to be something that changes to ensure that happens. It's hard to do that on a small budget.
You got him. He's live.
All right, I got you. You guys can hear him. Okay, Wesley, yeah. You're live. I just wanted to bring you into the conversation. But go ahead and finish your point, Councilman.
Yeah. So just to my point, when you look at those services that you offer to citizens, that takes into account that budget that you have. And so we offer a lot of services to our citizens, but you have to be able to maintain those services within that level of that budget. And so, over the last 3 to 4 years, that's what we've been dealing with, trying to maintain those services while operating on that budget. And it's always a toss up, because you want to make sure that citizens, tax-paying citizens, have the services that are available to them, but you definitely need to ensure that you have someone to render those services. And so then you get into what we talked about earlier, which are those persons that we need to employ. Are we being able to pay them a wage that allows them to say, hey, I'm proud to be here working in Williamsburg County, performing these services for the citizens that we have.
Mm-hmm. And
And
so, go ahead.
And one department that's not on there is Public Works. And our Public Works is going through some changes at this time, and we're working hard to rectify some of those things that we need to in that department.
So on the phone right now, I got Mr. Wesley Gibson, who was Mr. Wesley. Could you tell us, talk to us a little bit about the lines and how they were drawn in Georgetown County, and the role of the NAACP from where you sit?
Well, when we first got the lines, they wanted to have two predominantly black districts, one with Lewis Morant and one with Everett Carolina in District 3. And Miss Lil Jean Johnson, who represents District 4, she's retiring, so they were going to make her district smaller, where we only had 38% of the registered voters. And the NAACP said, no, we're not going to stand for that. We want to set up to be the same way that it is now, where we would have a chance to win 3 seats. So it didn't go over too well. So we enlisted the help of the American Civil Liberties Union. And they sent letters off, and they gave us help with people that actually draw lines, that have drawn lines for the state. And they came up with a district that we have now that's 48%. That's the best we could get based on the census and registered voters. But we had to have the help of the American Civil Liberties Union. Without them, we wouldn't have gotten it done.
That speaks to the point where I said you got to get that thing as close to 50% on both sides as you can. And if you were able to get to 48%, that's a great number when you're talking about trying to level the playing field.
Yes, but let me give you an example. District 4 used to encompass Spring Gully, which is Greentown, part of Maryville, City of Georgetown. Now, District 4 is just the City of Georgetown, a small piece of Maryville, and a small piece of Kensington. Greentown and Spring Gully, which is predominantly black, is now in Lewis Morant's district. That will bolster his number to almost, I think it's 50 or 60%, a little over, almost 60% African American.
Hey, but one of the key things you mentioned there, and it's based on registered voters. So if we're not registered, that's the other part that we're failing miserably at, is even just being registered to vote. Give yourself, if you're not, and we know how it works in South Carolina, you have to be registered within 30 days of an election.
Mm-hmm.
You're inside that 30 days, you're not going to be able to participate in that particular cycle, that term, I should say. So let's do that. I mean, I could, in my experiences and what we witness here, there's a lot of people that just not registered, don't really know what district they're in and who the district rep. So we have to get involved. This is vitally important.
And
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mayor, and I just want to get this in here. There's a lot of people who have felony convictions on their record, and they think because they have a felony conviction that case has already been adjudicated and done with. And if you're not involved in any election crimes, then you can register to vote. Okay. Challenge me on that if you think I don't know what I'm talking about.
As long as they're not on probation and parole, they can vote.
Exactly.
And a lot of times, the only thing they just need to do is simply register.
Yes.
If they just go in and register, and you don't have to do it on paper and pencil. You can do it online. You can use your phone, or you can use a laptop with Wi-Fi. I mean, you can register, and then the only thing you need when you go to vote would be your ID.
That's correct.
So so the NAACP, what was their position? Were they okay with the lines?
No.
As why you had to?
We weren't okay with the lines because, like I said, the lines were drawn where we only had 38% in District 4, when District 3 had, I think 60, a little over, in District, I think it's 7 that Lewis Morant represents. They had almost 60 or 70%. And the third seat, which was Miss Lily Jean's seat, was only at 38. So we weren't happy.
And so when you say 38%, you're talking about 38% of registered voters of a particular party, right?
Right.
Okay. And then just like to the mayor's point, of that 38%, how many of them going to act, they got to actually come out and vote. You feel what I'm saying? So what you're saying, if if there's a district and there's, 48%, you got 48% in there, you really got to push, you feel what I'm saying, to come out, because looking forward in November, I'll say this again, there's going to be some motivated voters, and they're going to come out, and they're going to come out in droves.
Let me give you an example. If the voters in District 4, City of Georgetown, do not get out and vote, I'm talking about the public housing, apartments, the people of the city. If the people of the city do not vote, we will lose that seat. Definitely. Because we have no other constituency other than the city. It's the city and part of very little part of Maryville and very little part of Kensington. Whereas when we had Greentown, which is Spring Gully, that would always take us over. We don't have that now.
Hey, I mean,
we had to draw the line that way. That's the only way the line could be drawn to give us 48%, without taking everything from District 7 and District 3.
Hey, okay, and imagine this: your worst case, the outcome of this election at the county level. Worst case, you could potentially have one African American that's on the county council.
Lewis Morant.
Yes.
And I mean, that's just, and that's not again. You look at the demographics of this county. That's not That's not a fair representation of the people. But if we sit, as Mr. Wesley just said, if folks sit back, don't get registered, and don't go out and vote, and don't challenge, even when you're not allowed to vote for whatever reason, someone at the poll, if you don't challenge it, it's the same thing. Don't get frustrated with it. You got to stay the course, because if you're not paying attention to what's happening right now, then you're going to wake up November, the day after, the Wednesday afterwards, and you're going to be, unpleasantly surprised. And guess what? And you're going to be that way for another at least 2 years, until the next election cycle. So,
well, you have until October 6th
mm-hmm.
to get folks registered to vote in the November election. You have, for absentee ballots, you have until October 25th to get persons ready. And emergency ballots, you have until November 1st through the 5th to get those in. But definitely October 6th is the date to get people registered to vote.
Yeah.
And get them out and vote after that.
If we're asleep at the wheel, it's going to be a problem, because there are conversations being had to shift the playing field, to unbalance the scale. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so where we're here talking about it in the open, which is great. We all need to take heed and get out here and get registered and do our civic duty, and ensure that you whomever you are, you have representation of someone you want to be represent you at whether it's a municipality or the county or the state or at the federal level. You can't do anything until you vote. Simple.
It's a shame. It's a shame that the work that the Department of Justice did back in the 70s to ensure that there was Black representation in the county of Georgetown is almost going out the window. We're in danger of having, like you said, just one representative on county council, and that's the chairman. And with all the houses that they're building over in his district, he'll soon be
untouchable.
extinct.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right.
No, you're absolutely right. And I will tell you personally, I went out to ensure, because I believe in having representation. I went out seeking to ensure that our council at the town level had a balance. I personally did that. Now, everybody's not going to agree, and some of it worked out, some of it is a pain, in the fourth point of contact. But it is important. You don't go out and get someone in there who's going to agree with everything, but to have a representation, someone who that people feel comfortable going to say, hey, this is not happening. And that's what it's all about. And it comes down to, of course, the majority rules, but have somebody on there that represents the makeup of your county or municipality. That ain't going to happen. You look at what happened in Georgetown, the city of Georgetown, because they sat back and allowed things to happen. There's a lot of infighting going on, and you wasn't, you didn't take it serious. And if they do it again in November, you're gonna get the same results. And Mr. Gibson, correct me if I'm wrong. Even that shift in District 4 moved the lines to more of a. So now you have a pretty, they have a pretty good, challenges coming in. You got a millionaire that's going to be running, and so
yeah,
it's crazy.
The other side machine, the other party, the machine of the other party, the individual running is the ex-county councilman's son. And they're millionaires. They got money. And money wins races in Georgetown County. So we really, we're stuck with, if we don't get the people of the city to vote for our candidate, we've lost. So that's a monumental task. We're up to the fight. We're going to knock on every door, more than once.
Yes, that's just the bottom line. And I don't know. I'd be interested to hear from Councilman Wilson. How the makeup of your council, and again, in terms of population, people, it's not it's much less than Georgetown County,
Georgetown.
but still,
I think we did a pretty good job when with the numbers that we had, making everything as even as possible on all 7 districts. Anyone can win one of those races. It's simply just not the population that we have of Caucasians that will allow them to do so. And so in many of the districts. And so, our plight is getting people out to the poll to actually vote. If we could get people out to simply voice their opinion, we would be miles and miles ahead. I simply just think back to what one of my late mentors said. She said, I went to jail for people to have the right to vote, and to not exercise it is something that just blows me away. Because you have people fighting to take it away. I mean, at every twist and every turn, the federal and the state level, you have persons trying to knock the vote away, trying to take the vote away, trying to make it difficult for people to vote. One of the best things we did was to have that 2-week period plus that day to give people an opportunity to vote. And we'll come out strong, and we'll do those first 2 weeks, but then on the actual election day, no one will show up. So it's just mind blowing to me how unimportant it is to persons. So that's one of the plights that we're definitely dealing with. As far as the census, one of the biggest things that impacted us was on the state level, with the lines being drawn, and of course that came from the lack of persons actually filling out that census.
And so I'm not trying to be Mr. Jamal here, but just from the political perspective, I'm trying to figure this thing out. I'm new to this game, and so I want to know from Mr. Gibson, who's been in politics a lot longer than I have. What is it going to take? How do we inspire people? I'm talking people in general. How do we inspire people to become interested in this? Because, and I'll just say this: if it's something controversy, this podcast would have had a ton of
50,
people on.
I already know,
So
that's a great question. How do we create that urgency in people? Because that bullshit last night it has nothing on what we're talking about right now.
Right. But if you notice on my page, I'm always putting things out there, just like Project 2025. Everybody, I just tell people to Google it. If they see what it's about, this is what we're up against. But just like the representative said, they were hurt on the state level. We were hurt on the state level also. Because if you look at our representation, our Representative Anderson lost Waynesburg County, which is almost 90% black. That's no longer in our district. And we're down, our district goes down into Owendahl. Schools moving into Arlington, but people from up north that don't look like us.
That don't think like us.
Williamsburg County. We've lost Williamsburg County, and now we're down Arlington. What does that mean for the next guy running for that seat? Look at it, and you see I'm telling the truth.
It's a great question. But then who was behind the redistricting? I mean, whose job is it to make sure? It is our state level officials. So
yeah, the representative should have fought that.
Yeah,
the representative should have fought that. Williamsburg County is almost 90% black. That's a stronghold, and you give that up to moving up. Arlington? Down in that, King Hoy, down in that area. Sorry
like
about that, not Arlington.
I know the area, but like you said, the development that's happening down there, those houses, when you start seeing at the 200s, they don't mean $200.
Well, all of that. Go ahead, sir.
A lot of people don't realize that this is what is happening. We're not opening our eyes. We're being blind to what's going on, and it's killing us.
Definitely.
And it's being done strategically, in those back rooms to push us into a corner so that others can do just what they want to do, how they want to do it, and when they want to do it.
But to the mayor's point, how do we shift our people's focus from that bull that happened last night on this podcast to right now? There should be 100 people in here right now. You know what I mean? Like what is it? What's gonna have to happen here in America to create that sense of urgency that nobody's seeing that's happening? And November is not that far away. And America, I believe, tinfoil hat on right now for a little bit, I believe America will change in November fundamentally. And it's going to be at the local level that everybody's going to be running looking for help. Okay? Because that's where your help, that's where you're going to be looking for answers at immediately. And not having the right people in place when this thing pops off, and this is all tinfoil hat talk here, but this is going to be a lot of people suffering because of poor leadership, bad decisions, and just not being involved. Gonna get involved a little too late.
Well, the first thing we have to do is just educate people, and we got to include our young people. We got to educate the masses, and we gotta empower our young people. If we don't empower our young people to begin to take over and to begin to give them responsibility, they don't feel like they have a place at the table. So we definitely have to educate people and empower our young people so that they feel like they have a spot at the table.
I talk to young people every day, and they said, "What are y'all doing for me?"
And
why? Go ahead.
And that's my question, Councilman. How do we get that program, the program that you got, that sending these kids off ASC certified in mechanics and things? How do we get that in Andrews?
Well, I mean, you have that in Andrews. You have it in Georgetown County. Is there? You have it at Andrews High School, where students can get certified prior to getting out of high school. You have it at Georgetown High School, where students can get certified prior to getting out of high school. My counterpart over there, she works diligently to get students prepared. But it's that civic, it's that as well, but it's also that civic mindedness that we're lacking in. And that civic mindedness will allow people to begin to say, hey, I matter. I need to make myself more employable, more marketable. And in them doing that, then those jobs that you saw earlier in the podcast, they begin to get filled, because guess what? You can get those jobs filled coming out of high school, many of them. But you have to have that civic mindedness to say, hey, I matter, my community matters, and I want us to be better. I want us to be stronger in what we do. You know, we don't have to be below the poverty line. We don't have to. You know, there was a time when strategically it was set in place for us to be that way. But right now, as it was always taught to me, the way out of poverty runs by the schoolhouse. And if you want to get out of poverty, you need to invest in yourself in the schoolhouse. Bottom line.
Exactly.
Absolutely, brothers. Well said.
And my little take on that too is that, back to the how, is that we have to have this conversation with them early on and often in all venues. If you have an opportunity to speak with a young person, that should be a part of the conversation. Spark an interest. Once you spark an interest in them and showing them the benefits of it, we can't wait until they get 18, 19 years old if they haven't been had this conversation before. This have to be in the churches, the schools, and we can't control the schools, but these kind of civic civic studies kind of went away, kind of sort of in the school system. But there's opportunities. A quick story. They've been doing. I was heavily involved with Mr. Cooper's campaign here recently, but I had an experience where I went to a place, a community, and there were kids all over the place, and so to get them involved, I took the opportunity then to explain to them why we were out here and talking about it. It was important for them to understand about politics and your local leaders, and it got them. I mean, I had their attention, and they were assisting with passing out flyers and stuff. They got all motivated. They started passing out flyers to even some of the other campaign members, but they were motivated. So hopefully somebody in that group, and we're going back to them, so we can start to instill that in them now. That although nobody, not everybody wants to be in politics, but it is important. We can't shy away from it, because decisions are being made that's going to affect your life at the local level immediately, and not long after that at the county and the state and federal. So you have to know. You can't wait and say, well, why is this happening to me? Why are things not happening? Because you weren't involved. And so that's my take on it. Go ahead, sir.
We have to get these young people. I take my grandchildren, and this is no lie. They go with me to school board. They go with me to county council. They go with me to city council. And when I stand up and speak on an issue, and then they see that somebody's standing up for them, and then when at night at the table, they'll say, Papa, let's talk about what you were talking about. And that's how they become energized. We got to get young people interested in civics and what's going on in their community. And we can't do it unless we get on their level. And once we get on their level, and we start to try to help them, motivate them to do something for their community, things will change. Absolutely. Things will change.
Absolutely. That's a good segue. Anthony Lee reached out to me today, football player, and he said, "Hey man, we need to do a preseason podcast." And so I was like, "Go ahead, set it up." And for long, he called back. He said, "All right, I got Aiden, I got this other guy." And so you're right, man. You guys are absolutely right. We just got to keep engaging them. We got to keep, you know what I mean? Like you were saying, making them a part of the process, you know, and that's the only way. So I agree, man. And again, this conversation does way more for me than that craziness that happened last night. And it's just it's mind blowing to me what catches our you know, people's attention.
But Mr. Mayor, look how
Oh, buddy,
big.
Zion.
Just look how big your district is. Look how big District 3 is.
Mm-hmm.
It covers a lot of territory.
Yep.
A lot of territory. And that's what they purposely tried to do, was create two massive districts, 3 and 7, and let 4 go by the wayside. And that's where the concentration of African Americans are. Georgetown.
In the city of
We're
Georgia.
not going. We weren't. Yeah, we weren't going to just give up the seat without a fight. That's what we told them.
And you saw
We're
what
not giving
happened
away anything.
after that was settled. Then when the filing initially occurred, look how many candidates came out for that district. Look how many came out,
Exactly.
And then I'm sure there was a conversation, and they
Oh
agreed
yeah.
to, hey, you fall back, I'll take the lead. I got the resources to go out here and, you know, and beat the average Joe in this thing because I got money to put on it. And so if you don't think it's strategic and it's well thought out,
Both of them are millionaires.
I know.
Both of them are millionaires. One's a millionaire by itself. The other one's a millionaire through family old money. And one is a sitting city councilman who has a vendetta against the Democratic nominee, Henry Milton. That's why he got in, because he said he didn't want to see Henry run unopposed.
Was that
And then the other,
was that the guy that trashed him in the paper about a bill or something like that?
yeah, Jonathan Agner.
Wow.
And he is the head of the Republican machine. And, you know, but we can win if we, like I said, the same people that we have to get out and vote are the same people they got to get out and vote.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more of us than it is of them. But the key is they vote.
Yes, sir. And they're going to be motivated in November.
And I'll tell you, you got a good person, good heart, with great intentions for the people. It will beat any millionaire that's out there.
Yes.
And I know that's Mr. Henry
Exactly.
Milton. You know, he is a good man, and he will serve the people. He fight for the people that he represents. He did that when he was on the city council, and I know he will do it now. So they can have all. I mean, there was a millionaire that ran against my good friend, the mayor out of Conway, and she smoked him. Be a good person. Just represent the people, regardless of what your color is.
Always the people.
Represent the people. Get out there and let them know who you are, and be genuine about it. And they can come as much money if they want to. I don't care if you were a black millionaire. If you're not right, you're not there to represent the people. You shouldn't be there. That's just the way I see it. So I think Henry's going to do well, and the people that's going to have to find it. Because when you start doing stuff just for party or a particular, you know, race, whether you're black or white, you're already off to a bad start. Then the people are going to be left out because your agenda is not for taking care of the people.
That's why Georgetown City Council is in such a mess right now. The two people that got elected have no knowledge of politics. And if you watch any city council meeting, just watch it online. They say nothing. All they do is raise their hand because they're part of the machine. They were just there, put on there just to fill seats.
Yeah, man. Georgetown County and Williamsburg County politics. I tell you, who knew? Who knew?
And it's all connected. It impacts what happens in Williamsburg County, especially in District
Yeah.
3.
Mm-hmm.
It affects citizens in Andrews and vice versa. So
Oh yeah.
we got to come together at the municipality and the county level to do what's right. You talked about earlier about the ambulance. Well, that ambulance, the shortages in Williamsburg County and the missing ambulance out of Andrews. Guess what? That left a bunch of vulnerable people vulnerable.
I mean,
Yeah.
right now, operating consistently, how many ambulances do you guys have in Williamsburg County?
On a good day, we got about 2.5, but most days we have about 2
to cover
And-
the third largest
Mhm.
landmass of county in the state.
Oh yeah, and I mean, this council and the supervisor is scrambling, trying to come up with solutions so that this is not an issue. We know the issue. We know the plight of the people, and we are all fighting to make that not the issue. That's just one of the many issues that we have to deal with. But that one right there hits home.
Yeah.
Because when that ambulance is not there in a timely manner, you're looking at possibly the loss of a loved one.
Hey,
and that's across all lines.
listen, I know about 3. My uncle passed. My uncle lives in Earls, so crossover in Williamsburg County. So about maybe 3-4 years ago when he passed, I was there. Got the call. I was there, and I know. And so when you cross that line, those calls go to Williamsburg. Now they're closer to Andrews, and so then I know I was there for all of it. I know when I got there, he'd already passed. But the time to get that ambulance there was well over 30 minutes.
Right.
Well over 30 minutes. And our firefighters ended up getting there and assisting, of course, with, moving him out. But it's happened. I mean, and I think I'm not the only one with a personal story like that. But this is the importance of having people that care about people and, in the low to moderate area on these councils that will fight for these resources. We shouldn't have to. It shouldn't have to be an ongoing conversation. It should have been something in place, or at least working on it to get these ambulances. Put money into it. If you got shortfalls in your first responders, that's medics, firemen, police officers. Put money into it. It should be a state or a federal crisis. And we know it's a lot of time is driven by, whether these men and women can support their families. So they're going to go where the dollars are.
Exactly.
So figure out, and don't leave that burden on the small cities and towns to have to foot that bill. Those first responders should be funded, I think, from the federal level.
Yeah. And so that's what we're talking about when we say, the impact of what happens on that level when you don't have someone there representing, because if they're not there representing you, who are they representing?
Right.
And the interests of the people that we represent, they're not being heard. So all of that is vitally important. And all of that comes into play when you talk about census, filling out that census, when you talk about voting, when you talk about knowing what's going on in your community. All of that is a part of your civic duty.
Absolutely. And so you have a situation like, again, we have examples. We can give you examples of not being represented with 2 council members. So ambulance being removed, nobody at that level raise an issue. There's a building that was still had gas, connected to it for a very long time. It got torn down. This gas line was busted. You know, the operator on the vehicle got injured. There was no consequences for that.
Mm-hmm.
You have our storm drain. I mean, our flood mitigation project that was funded, and it's dead. It's stopped. All that should have been addressed by these folks who represent Andrews in both District 5 and District 3. So people wonder why I have taken a personal interest in supporting someone who I know is going to represent not just Andrews, but the entire district. That's what it is. That's the impact.
Yeah.
You know?
And what's happened in Williamsburg County is just simply the shortfall of revenue. When you have a shortfall of revenue, you know, he said it earlier, you know, people have to take care of their family. And if that's the profession that they're in, you know, they're going to go where they can take care of their family. And so, you know, we've worked hard to put in place something that will try to attract those persons, but you know, it's not an easy task because it's not the only task that's on the table.
That's what you sound like is when I hear, you know, when not understanding budgets, and folks will say, well, Georgetown has got this and Andrews don't got this. Well, Andrews got $2 million budget of a little over $2 million, and Georgetown has working with a $66 million budget, and they still can't get that right.
Yeah, you have to work within the means. If you don't have revenue generating, you know, service, then it's not going to happen. So, and again, Councilman Wilson mentioned it, you have to work within the constraints that you have and then leverage other people's dollars like state and grants and that, you know, that kind of thing. And that's how and then make tough, wise decisions.
Yeah.
And if you know your people are, you know, number one, you have to invest in them, in their training, the equipment, and all the resources to make sure that we are meeting the basic needs of our citizens. And it's tough. It's very tough. I'm not saying, I mean, we all fall short. But again, if you have or a focus by the body, then you're going to be all over the map. And if your county, in our case, if your county is not, the state is not doing what they're supposed to do, then you end up using those limited resources you have to repair roads, which is a state responsibility, you know, sidewalks, trees, ditches, clean those things. So everybody has a slice of the pie to make sure that the citizens are taken care of. And when that doesn't happen, then, you know, and in the councilman situation and in ours, you're going to have to use the resource you have, and then you're going to go spend somewhere else. It's chess moves all day long to try to make things happen.
Never checkers.
No, not at all. Not at all. So,
no doubt. All right, hey, listen, guys. That's I think we got a point where we can kind of put a pin in it to the next time, because this is an ongoing conversation that needs to continue. So I'm gonna start with Mr. Gibson. Mr. Gibson, first of all, thanks for joining us tonight, and I just wanted to give you any last words you wanted to say, you know, before we sign off.
Yeah, we need to get motivated, get engaged, and get these young people to work. Give them something to work for, so that we don't lose them. We're slowly losing our young people, and we need to get them motivated to work, because November is a very serious election from the city all the way up to the United States. And thank you for having me, man.
It's all good, brother. We'll do this again.
Yeah.
All right, Councilman Wilson.
Yes. Just to, you know, reiterate again on those dates, October 6th is the opportunity to register to vote. October 25th is the last chance that you'll have to get the vote by mail. And so I just want the citizens of Williamsburg County to know that, hey, this council and this supervisor is working hard on those things that we fall short on. But more work is being done than it appears to be. It takes a little time. We started working on that Black River project, and the mayor can tell you, it's coming up on 2 years, and we're still not solidified with everything that we're going to do. We're all set now on our local level, but we're now waiting on the federal level to release those funds so we can start with some of those projects. So it takes time, definitely. And within that time, we'll continue to work hard for you.
Hope we didn't lose our host.
No, I'm there. I'm there.
Okay.
I'm there.
So you blank out there.
All right. Yeah, but yes, sir. Go ahead. Any last words there, man?
Hey, it's encouraging everybody to get involved. Let's get involved into what's happening in the community, not just from voting. Get involved. And the first thing, once we get registered, then we can have the conversation about everything else. So let's get registered to vote now. The great councilman talked about those deadlines, but let's not wait there, because you're going to the closer you get to those dates, you're going to get real busy. So let's go ahead and do it now. You can do it from your smartphone, your lap, whatever. You don't have to go anywhere. It's right there at your fingertips. So let's get registered. And then let's get involved in what's happening politically. Your community volunteer, we can use volunteers around here, and let's make it happen. And the last thing, a couple of things I'll say again, shout out to our Dixie Youth ladies for winning the state championship for South. They're going to go and represent South Carolina. There they are, and they headed up to Virginia here on the 19th. So again, let's do whatever we can to support them and make this a very enjoyable trip for them up there. And again, hopefully they'll win the championship this time. But if they don't, they're still champions in our heart. You just threw this up there. Well, let's support Miss Peggy next this coming Saturday. And if the date changes, I'm sure they'll get it out. But let's support this effort again. She's a big supporter in the community of all people, and so we should not be shy or hold back from again helping to make life a little bit easier for Miss Peggy Cumbie. Hey, you just flashed that toppings up there. So we have a series now. We're on week number 2. We do our courtesy ice cream giveaway. Courtesy ice cream for anyone who wants to stop by the Ace. There's a flyer that's out now, or should be posted, that captures the date and time, which is the 19th. I think it's the 19th of July, where we will have ice cream and other treats for the folks stopping by the Ace. That's 30 East Main Street. And again, this all efforts to try to reach out and bring our community together. Let's put away all the craziness and nonsense, and let's come together, because Andrews is growing, and Andrews, things are happening, and we want everybody to be on board. We know it's impossible, but things are happening here. So hopefully Anytime Fitness will be open here soon. We see the people working over there at Little Caesars Pizza, Mexican restaurant. The owners there are working diligently to get that open real soon. So we're excited about what's happening. There'll be much more coming soon, but just let's get involved in a positive way. Appreciate the time. And it's good being on with these distinguished gentlemen, Mr. Torrance, Mr. Wesley.
Yes, sir. Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Great sharing the screen with you tonight. So appreciate anything I can do from this side of the county line. Just let me know.
Same thing on this side, brother.
Absolutely.
And to our host, thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate you.
It's all good.
If we can get one person to apply, man, listen, we'll have done the job that we needed to do.
Oh, no doubt. And we hey, listen, one at a time, one. You know what I mean? We're making strides. It don't seem like it sometimes, but I you know what I mean? if I didn't think we were making strides, I wouldn't continue. You know what I mean? I'd be like, nah. But it's and I think what we're doing is is for a worthy cause. So I do appreciate you guys, man. Mr. Wilson over there in District 2, Williamsburg County. You know your girl Mika put that together. Your girl, the mayor of Bloomingville over there put that together. You know. But again, man, I appreciate you guys, and let me tell these people good night, and we'll be doing this again next Tuesday, Mayor. Mr. Wilson, we got to figure out a regular schedule so we can keep them folks over there in Williamsburg County, you know what I mean, in tune as to what's going on, you know what I mean. Tell old TY we can do something. We can do something on TY Christian News over there.
Oh yeah, let's get it all together. Get it together.
All good. I rock with that brother, man. You know, as opposed to, but anyway. All right, yeah, y'all have a good night, man.
All right, appreciate you, man.
All right. Yep, and that's what it is. Welcome to the podcast again. Please hit that like button, hit that notification bell. Share this, okay? If you're sitting there watching this, make sure you share this. All right, share this. This is the information that needs to go out, right? I noticed some bunch of people came in early, and I guess they was looking for the drama, and then we started talking about some educational stuff, and they bounced out of here. But anyway, we're gonna keep this thing moving forward. You know what it is. November coming up. Let's not mess around with it. I gotta get that changed there. But you know what it is. Anyway, y'all have a good one. Till next week. Peace.